Heads are rolling on Florida Governor Ron DeSantis' 2-month-old campaign, a campaign where he bizarrely decided to position himself to the right of former President Trump. And as I and many others predicted, that seems to be a pretty terrible strategy. But 2 months after jumping into the race with little growth, donations now drying up, DeSantis has started firing some of his campaign staff. More dismissals are expected in the coming weeks. The shakeup comes after what's been a rough week for the campaign. It's been one disappointing headline after the next. Top donors souring on DeSantis, starting looking at Tim Scott, Florida governor lags in 2024 polls, etc. Governor DeSantis is packaging himself as a basically more extreme version of Donald Trump. He would say more conservative, whether it's with his positions on abortion, crime, the border, or a host of other issues. But this strategy came with a very tough question. Can he really convince GOP and MAGA voters that Donald Trump is too liberal?
Well, he's obviously attacking me from the left. I mean, I think he's attacked me for opposing an amnesty bill. He wanted to amnesty 2 million illegal aliens in 2018 when he was president. I opposed him on that because I'm opposed to amnesty.
But Trump is just way, way ahead now in the polls. I mean, DeSantis trails Trump even after multiple indictments by 30 percentage points, and sometimes it appears to be even more. This is according to 538. Despite a lot of hype, the shine on DeSantis has certainly worn off, even though he's raised $20 million since entering the race. His donors beginning to question the campaign, particularly his strategy, as mega donors are continuing to assess the field. And now even the conservative media changing its tune on him. The New York Times reporting that Rupert Murdoch is off the DeSantis bandwagon and now prefers Glenn Youngkin instead. Joining me now is John Ziegler, conservative commentator and host of the Death of Journalism podcast. John, thanks for coming back on the program. Appreciate it. Look, you have supported DeSantis for a while now, but it just seems this strategy of trying to outflank Trump from the right has been a bit of a disaster, no?
Well, let me first make a distinction. I still support Ron DeSantis. I'm just willing to acknowledge reality. You know I'm a reality guy, and I don't think that there's much of a chance that DeSantis is going to win this. I'm not positive, Dan, he ever could have won this, because while you look at this through a political prism, and I think there's validity to that, especially on the abortion issue. I think the 6-week abortion ban in Florida basically ended any hope in New Hampshire, where independent voters still matter in a Republican primary. But I think that actually helps DeSantis in Iowa and South Carolina. I look at this as everything being about Donald Trump. I strongly believe that when it comes to Republican politics, it's all about Trump. That's what your great last segment was all about. It was really all about pleasing Donald Trump. And there are 3 groups in the Republican primary. There are the Trump cultists, the Trump likers, and the never Trumpers. I've been a never Trumper since the very beginning. DeSantis thought he had that group nailed down because of his big victory in 2022 and his fantastic COVID response. He has taken them for granted, and he's not gone after Trump at all. And I think he has suffered because of that. And I think Chris Christie and others are starting to take that track. The middle group, the Trump likers, aren't interested. And it's not because of politics. It's because they have rallied around Donald Trump because of the 2 indictments and because there is a medium prism on both the left and the right that plays very much into Donald Trump's hands. In fact, I believe that Tucker Carlson is the MVP of the Trump campaign. And I've said this previously on your show. I predicted, in fact, the night that he got fired, that it was going to be very, very good for Donald Trump. And I think the entire media dynamic plays right into Donald Trump's hands. And this was a bridge that DeSantis tried to the gap that he tried to bridge that I'm not sure was ever really bridgeable. And he has failed because of bad strategy and bad circumstances.
But DeSantis is blaming the media. He says, well, if you look at the people like the corporate media, who are they going after? Who do they not want to be the nominee? And he's basically suggesting that the corporate media is going after him because the corporate media is afraid that he can actually win. They're probably going after him because he's now positioning himself to the right of Trump. I think he actually could have gotten a surprising amount of corporate media support from the people who don't like Trump if his position was even just somewhat more moderate. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.